Hedera recently made another reminder. It's actually about something that is in their governing council, and it's actually about Hitachi. And guess what? It is in the Hedera governing council. Allegedly, Hedera says that by Hitachi being in their governing council, it actually brings industrial, supply chain, and clean energy expertise to Hedera's council, right? Which is, again, going to help indirectly allow Hedera to compete better, I think, with other projects when it comes to this space. And I'll talk about why I think this matters in today's video, even though I am not telling anyone to do anything, and nothing I say is financial advice. So if we take a look at this, this is not necessarily about the price, but it's talking about the foundational aspects of Hedera that could potentially affect it for many years moving forward, fundamentally speaking. Now, if we take a look at it, just like I mentioned before, Hedera even highlights how Hitachi brings industrial, supply chain, and clean energy expertise to Hedera's council. Now, if we take a look at it, we first have to know that this is Hitachi America, which is a subsidiary of Hitachi, which is the one in Japan. Now, if we take a look at that, Hitachi worldwide is known for elevators, escalators, construction machinery, and also a bunch of other things, but I'm just listing a few. If we take a look at that right there, I think this right here is allowing Hedera to compete better. Let me explain why. For instance, if we take a look at something called VeChain, historically one of the most popular projects when it comes to this space that is focused on supply chain management. But guess what? VeChain as of late has been shifting its focus a lot towards AI, which is fine, but that kind of leaves a gap. So again, this is poising, Hedera for kind of being able to get that narrative of supply chain management. This is the type of stuff that Hedera is doing. When others are leaving, they're entering because they understand that, hey, there's a gap there, So if the sentiment were to come back in again, Hedera is going to be waiting right there when it comes in the case of supply chain management. Now, of course, Hedera is also focused on AI, arguably, and also to a certain extent, real world assets, or should I say RWAs. So again, Hedera is speeding up their sort of diversification at a time when the space overall isn't doing the best. Again, other projects out there are leaving the supply chain management sort of niche when it comes to this space, but Hedera just recently reminded people how Hitachi is helping their supply chain management vibes, right, when it comes to this project. So we gotta let that sink in. When it comes to Hedera, when others are not focused, they're starting to focus. Because imagine if Hedera is known for in the space of AI, supply chain management, let's say real world assets. That indirectly is like more buckets to collect the raindrops, if that kind of makes sense. This is the type of stuff, again, that Hedera is doing. While others are slowing down, they're kind of speeding up. Now, granted, though, does this mean that Hedera will see the best adoption of all time? No, but, again, it's diversifying well, in my opinion. It's like, for instance, take a look at Berkshire Hathaway. They own shares in Coca-Cola. They also own shares in Apple, but they also own something called Brooks, which is a shoe company. So we gotta let that sink in. Even Berkshire Hathaway is focused on shoes, technology, focused on beverages. They're well diversified. Not every single niche that they're focused on has to be the best of the best. No, not necessarily. They're just diversifying, right? And it's no different when it comes in the case of Hedera. Hedera, unlike VeChain, we see how Hedera Hashgraph does not utilize traditional blockchain technology. VeChain, if we take a look at the VeChain Thor blockchain, it's literally a blockchain. Don't get me wrong, I'm still a fan of VeChain, but if we take a look at VeChain being focused on supply chain management and Hedera, it's a little bit different just because Hedera Hashgraph uses a directed acyclic graph. And keep in mind, Hitachi is not the only one in the Hedera governing council. We take a look at, for instance, the likes of Google, which is in the Hedera council. We take a look at Dell, LG. We take a look at also London School of Economics, and also University College London. And even not too long ago, McLaren Racing joined the Hedera Council. FedEx also joined the Hedera Council. Now, when it comes to the price of HBAR, not much has really happened. Market cap still under 3 billion. So not much has really changed when it comes to that. But you know what? It goes back to January of last year in 2025. The movement is over 4 times. If it could go back there, which is why, I don't even need an altcoin season anymore. If it goes back there, I'm already very happy. Could it though? Who knows? But again, a 13 billion market cap is something that is not unprecedented. It's not like it's never been reached before. We saw it reach that back in January of last year. So it's not like it's this thing we've never seen. No. And again, just going back there, the movement is around 4 times. Now, people like to say, well, that's really boring though. But here's my perspective. I mean, if Bitcoin were to go back to its all-time high, the movement is what, around 2 times? This, just going back to January of 2025, is around 4 times, slightly over that actually. Now, I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but that's just from what I've observed. And if we take a look at this market cap right here at around, 2.8 billion, this is a market cap which we saw back in 2021. So if I'm able to dollar cost average approximately once a month into levels that was seen around 5 years ago, yeah, I'm not going to complain because I don't mind the dip. That's the thing, because that's just my mindset as of right now. The fundamentals, people like to say, wow, it's so boring talking about that. But sometimes these type of things don't matter until they do in some arguable cases. Like things sometimes don't matter until they do. Will it matter though? We'll wait and see. But Hedera has showcased that time and time again, when the market typically takes off, we've seen this kind of hypothetically sometimes in arguable cases go along with the ride. So it's not necessarily a project that's forgone about. That's the way you take a look at it. However, I'll be sure to make more updates moving forward. I want to say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you all have a very wonderful day. It's been Lee the Captain. I'm out. Peace. Bye.